Hi guys and girls, this is a label presentation. Obviously we've got the DEC label, the Fortis label and the ITC label, so three different labels, and I'd like to put forward to consolidate it into one to save cost as well as preventing some of the remote branches from having to handwrite labels and it not looking professional. So I've basically already run through the agenda of what we're going to be running through. I'll show you guys the other three label designs that we've currently got, the amazingly exciting brand new one that I want to put forward for consideration, run through a couple of financial points on what we're currently spending on ordering the three separate labels and our possible savings. Rolling straight into that one. So over the past 2 years we order both the DEC and Fortis labels about every 4 to 5 months. We spend between 1,000 to 2,000 depending on the quantity. Obviously DEC being a smaller size company requiring less labels, so we order those labels at a higher cost, lower quantity. Fortis sending out more orders, so we buy them in at a lower cost, higher quantity. So over the span of the last 2 years we've spent nearly $11,000 on labels. If we had a single label and bulk bought for that year in one hit, we would have saved nearly $1,800. Just recently did another financial exercise, and the latest label purchase for us, if I was to do it for a year for all three companies, would come in at just under $3,000, so we could have actually saved $7,000 if we were already going into that. Is there anything around the financials that you guys want me to go over a bit better, or does that kind of make sense?
Could you please break down where exactly the savings come from?
So when we go to our printing company, you pay a price per 1,000, and there's then break points, so the more you buy. So normally we buy in the 9,000 break point, 9,000 labels, and we get that for about $245 per 1,000. So the DEC we would normally buy in between 2,500 and 3,500, I think, which works out to about $350 per 1,000. So already there between the two companies we were saving just over $100 per 1,000 between bulk buying for Fortis and less buying for DEC.
So the more labels you buy, the less it costs, basically, and by consolidating all three companies onto one label, you can bulk buy, because it doesn't matter what label you use it for any company, basically.
So yeah, there's a few saving costs, exactly that. So for the three companies, rather than buying three separate labels, we buy one label, and as I say, Fortis was buying 9,000. We're forecasting for a year to buy, I think it's nearly 20,000 labels. It should cover DEC, Fortis and ITC, and we'll get that, I think it works out to like $210 or $190 per 1,000. And then obviously, yeah, we get it our new design, all three logos, so a bit of cross branding and exercise. So if a customer buys from ITC, they'll also see, oh, I could buy from Fortis or DEC. So a bit of shameless publicity, shall we call it. Anything else?
What about the printers? You must say.
Yep, so that's a really good point. So at the moment, each site that provides a service for all three companies requires I think it's $2,100 printer per label. So Perth site has 3 printers. That's $6,500 just in the printer alone to be able to print all 3 labels. Going to one label printer, we'll be able to professionally print all of our labels for all 3 companies from any site. Scalability, so that if we decide to do ITC out of a couple of the branches we don't already do, we're already able to print the labels. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, makes it very versatile and easy.
And scalable, that's probably the biggest one that I'm trying to get through to the board. Any other questions? No? So that's our current Fortis design. That's a 200 by 1600 label, pretty stock standard. Obviously the Fortis logo, number, all the rest. That's our deck label, has obviously the warranties and stuff like that. Less, we want to be moving away from publicising that as much. And then obviously the RTC label, similar to both of those two previously. This is our fantastic new design. We've tweaked it just a little bit after going to the label company, obviously bringing the Fortis label up to what it should be, and then enlarging the bottom three and then the founder banner. I just want to take a look at that.
So you won't have to buy a new printer to be able to print?
Yeah, so the biggest, as I say, I think they're 2100 currently to buy a new printer. Currently, across all of our sites, the amount of printers we've got, if we redistributed them to each branch to have one in each one, we wouldn't need to buy another printer. It would just be a matter of shuffling some around, and then every site would be able to print a professional label rather than handwriting. Yeah, gets us to a $100 million company rather than your backyard Joe that's handwriting a label.
Yeah, you'd also only have to select one printer. It'll be super straightforward for the.
Yeah, you guys directly will find that more efficient, rather than having to go, oh, the Zebra Z230 or the Zebra Z400 like they used to be. It'll just be label printer print.
It'll also save money because you won't be making as many mistakes because you won't accidentally
printing it on the wrong printer. Yep, fair point. A mini conclusion, obviously running through the financial savings of buying one label rather than all three. The redistribution of the printers rather than having to buy more in the new branches that we set up, like Townsville or whatever. And then future saving costs after doing the latest exercise and getting a bulk order done for a year, so 20,000 labels. We would have saved over the past year or two, I think it's like 7 or 8 grand. It's massive in the big scheme of things versus the initial thought of $1,800 in savings.
That's not just one branch, is it? That's
across. No, that'll be across all of them. I think scalability is a big one. The printers, as you bring up, the ease for the warehouse staff rather than having to select a different printer, like only being able to print a deck label on the other computer or vice versa. Any questions?
Just a question for the other printers, will they be going back to the manufacturers and the ones who gave us like the deck and the Fortis labels?
Nah, so at the current minute, I think we've got exactly the right amount where we'll send one out of Perth to Kalgoorlie, and I think we have a spare one in either Narrabri, Sydney or Brisbane that we look to redistribute out to Townsville, and that leaves us with one printer in each site, which is able to then print all three, or the single label for all three companies.
Sweet.
Yeah, that saves us obviously having to reinvest in printers.
Yeah. Will we be changing over straight away, or will we be?
Yes, I've just gotten approval for the new design to go for a year, so I'll place the order this month. You guys should probably see it at the end of the month. We'll leave all the old labels in each branch as a backup, just in case we run out.
So we won't swap.
We'll swap straight away, and
Alright,
then
cool.
if we, so I've undershot the order. Rather than completely running out and having to handwrite a white label, just be able to use that as a buffer. Or if the label's a complete flop and we will need to go back, rather than binning our old stock, we'll use that as a bit of a buffer. Good point.
Cool. I think, you covered pretty much all of it. I think the new labels are a really good idea, and will make things a lot easier in the warehouse.
Cool. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.